afternoon, fellow Lions. It's been a pleasure for me to have been a member of the Montgomery Lions Club since 1968, and I'm just as proud to be a leader. Later here and proud as I was then. It's hard to believe that I've been a member for over 50 years of the time the Lions Club has been in existence for 100 plus years. As you know, we were chartered in 1922, my Lions Club International, and we were the first Lions Club in the state of Alabama. In the past years, our primary fundraiser was sponsoring the Blue Gray game, as you know. We took it over in 1955 from the founder and father of the Blue Gray game, Sam Pickens. And we have continuously played the game every 2002 years, except during the Second World War, when in 1943 it was discontinued. The proceeds are used for the youth program and slide conservation, and of course that continues today, and we're very proud of all of our accomplishments over the years of doing that. I want to begin by just mentioning a few of the great coaches and football players that participated in the game. Among the great players were Y.A. Tittle. He played with the game from LSU in 1944, before actually we took it over. Harry Gilman, Alabama quarterback, was here in 1946. He was famous, as some of you might remember, for when he was a quarterback and took the ball, he would run beside the lines and jump and complete passes to the receiver. We also had Bart Starr of Alabama, and he played in the Blue Gray game, and of course, I don't need to talk about after that. He was coached under Vince Lombardi with the Green Bay Packers. We also had Len Dawson of Purdue in '56, Fran Tarkenton of Georgia in '60, then the great Jerry Rice of Mississippi State Valley, a small school in Mississippi that really had not been recognized for the talent that he had. He was recruited and played in 1984. He was voted the most valuable player, and he caught attention of all the pro scouts that attended Montgomery when we were practicing for the Blue Gray game. And of course, they were at the game as well. And they recognized talent when they saw it. And he was drafted number 17 by the San Francisco 49ers, and the rest is history. Among the many coaches the Blue Grays had were Wally Butts of Georgia, Alan McKean of Mississippi State University, later members of the Lions Club after he retired. Jimmy Johnson of Oklahoma State, he was coaching at Oklahoma State when he was recruited to be one of our coaches for the Blues. He later was, of course, coaching the Dallas Cowboys, and to their greatness for many, many years. And now he's on TV with Fox NFL. And we had Coach Howard Snellenberger, who was an assistant coach at Alabama, who was mentored by Bear Bryant to become a great coach of the University of Miami, where he won a national championship. I want to tell you something about Coach Snellenberger that I trust none of you will ever talk about or let anybody else know. But during the times when the coaches were here from throughout the country, the members of the club would entertain them at various events. They'd bring them to the houses and take them to the restaurant. But Jerry Moore, my good friend, had him at Waukesha, and all the coaches and the wives were there, and several of the members, and he was entertained royally. And this was during the season, the deer season. So Coach Nettenberger wanted to coach to shoot a deer. And so it wasn't a doe season, all it was a buck season. I don't think back then we even had a doe season, did we, Mr. Bull?
We had coaches every year, I don't remember, we had a lot of fun with it.
Well, anyway, Jerry assured him that since Wycott, it was his place, he owned it, and he didn't care whether he shot a doe or not. So he encouraged Coach Stanenberger to shoot a doe, and of course Coach Stanenberger took his advice and shot one, even though it was out of season. We were fortunate to have as Blue Crate recruiters, Wally Butson, Don Farrow of Missouri, a legend at Missouri, and he was the recruiter for the South, for the North for several years, for most of the time that we sponsored the game. We also had Frank Howard, he was a University of Alabama graduate, but he coached at Clemson for many years and was a great coach for Clemson. But he agreed after he retired to come and be a recruiter for the Gray team. And he did a great job, and he was well respected by the Lions Club. He was funny, he was hilarious, he told good jokes. And he stood in great fair with the Lions Club until one year when he came to the game, he brought his girlfriend instead of his wife. he at that time fell in great despair, needless to say. But we also had assistant coaches, Bear Bryant and Shug Jordan. This was when Bear Bryant was coaching at Texas A&M and Kentucky before that. And of course, they didn't go to many bowl games, so they were eligible to be the coaches at the Blue and Gray. And he and Shug Jordan later Auburn. And they coached for a couple of times each as assistant coaches at the Blue Gray game. Of course, when he became coach at Alabama and Shug Jordan at Auburn, at that time they were ineligible because they were obviously taking their teams to all of the bowl games that their respective teams were going through. Now, if the Lions Club was still sponsoring the Blue Game in recent years, of course the Alabama coach would not be eligible to be involved with the Blue Gray game because they're fighting to be national championships with his team every year. However, Auburn coach I apologize to Auburn.
Take your pick.
In any event, for the past few years, they would have been certainly candidates to coach for the Grays, but until this year, of course, they couldn't because they don't have a coach. Hopefully that'll be over in a few years or shortly, and they'll have somebody that they'll be proud of. We met for many years, as you know, at the Ridley Hotel ballroom, which now is part of the Troy State University. There were lots of fun there. There were jokes, harassment amongst the members. There were throwing rolls all in good time, and you've heard other members talk about, I think Alva threw a roll and hit one of the older members in the eye, and fortunately he wasn't hurt seriously. But it was all in good natured fun and frivolity. The jesting of speakers was also unheard, was also consistently held also. but we had great speakers at each meeting, as we do today. Among them were high school football coaches locally. Billy Graham was here when he held his crusade at Crampton Bowl. He was a great, inspiring speaker, and everybody enjoyed him thoroughly. He was a fine man and a fine gentleman and a true servant of Christ. He also held the crusade at Crampton Bowl, and it filled to capacity with him being here. We also had locally preachers. We had Chamber of Commerce representatives. We had business leadership of all kinds, investment brokers, local doctors, politicians, and even occasionally lawyers. Of course, we all enjoyed that, I'm sure. And many others of all persuasions and interests. On one occasion, I remember well, at the Whitley Hotel, we had an Air Force 4-star general from Maxwell Field. And he had a phenomenal resume that was given to us as he was being introduced by a Lions Club member. Among his many accolades and accomplishments was he was the commandant of the Air War College at Maxwell. He was the commandant of the Air University, as well as the Command and Staff School. He held leadership roles of all kinds at other Air Force bases as well as abroad. He had been a jet fighter pilot during the Korean War and was an ace because of the large number of enemy planes he had shot down during the war. He also had piloted B-52 bombers during his career, and his uniform was amazing. It had an enormous number of medals reflecting how great an Air Force officer he was. He was a true warrior and a great American, and we were very proud to have him speak. However, after this great introduction was over, Senator Junie Pierce, he was a Lions Club member and an Alabama State Senator, stood up in the back of the room and at the top of his voice yelled, we need to save him for breeding purposes.